Hello everyone, Rachel here, and welcome to this open session every fortnight, 12 noon UK time, where I never know who's going to show up. I never know what anyone is going to say. I open the call to hear your views and what's going on for you. And I tend to put it out completely unedited. So yeah, it's always always exciting to do these calls and to see what shows up. So just to say that that opening music was by Mog Fry, who is one of the core group of the 9 ladies holding the energy of our eco community as we look for land to acquire. And she's a beautiful musician, so I thought I would play those tracks in as tribute to her. So Take Me Home to My Loved Ones, which is a cover of a kind of converted cover of John Denver's hit, and Edelweiss from, obviously, from The Sound of Music. So okay, so if you would like to come on today's call, the way to do it is to put the yellow hand up, which is in the reactions box. That's the easiest way to do it, because that way you come to the top of the screen and I know who to come to. And I tend to try to come to people who haven't spoken before. So if I give preference, that's what I'm doing, just to give everyone a chance to get on the call. So before we come to you, I'm just going to read out a little poem this week. I usually do some kind of invocation. And I'm sure many of you will know this Rumi piece, but it just felt appropriate to read it out this week. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. It's a beautiful little poem by Rumi that I felt inspired to read out today. So before we come to you, I'm just going to come across the screens. Let's just come into gallery view and see who we've got on the call. Please give us a wave. Welcome to everyone. Nice to see you all on the call. Just to say, if you've got your video on, you come to the top of the call, just to let you know that, but you don't have to put your video on. Hi to Sass there, Sass Bullock. Did an amazing equinox ceremony in the woods hosted by Sass last week, which was beautiful. Who else have we got on? Just coming across the screens. Just good to see you. And lots of icons there on page 3. Okay, so who would like to come on first? Let us come to Lorraine Tullett. If she can get her audio working. Hi, Lorraine, can you unmute? Okay, maybe Lorraine, we will leave you to get your audio working and we'll come to Owen Lucas.
I'm back, sorry.
I'm back. Okay, Lorraine, we'll come to you next.
Thank you. Okay, thank you.
Hi, Lorraine.
Oh, hi there, Rachel. Sorry, I didn't know whether you...
I think you have been on before, haven't you, actually, Lorraine?
Now I have been on once before. Yeah, I watched the video last night, and I just wanted to let people know about it. It was quite concerning. It was an Irish lady that I'd not been on before, but she posted a video from a guy, an Irish guy, who came out with some information relating to something that was being concocted, going to be rolled out, and it's called Marburg, sorry. It's some sort of news via the usual suspects, and what they will do, because one of the things with it produces blood clots, similar to what we've been seeing, but they're coming up. Apparently, they've already produced a vaccine for this, but within the booster shot, so he says, there is going to be ricin. And he is saying this is what they are going to do. Now, I've never heard of this before, Marburg, and I'm going to post the link to this particular video on the chat. So people may want to have a look at it. Now, I didn't know anything about this, but it is a very, very rare, virus. But the ricin will be put in the treatment. So I just wanted to share it now. How true it is, what there is going on, of course, none of us know. But I just thought it was a bit of a different thing. And he comes across, he's done apparently tons of research.
Yeah.
And she, you know, she shared it, she said, please let people know. So I'm just trying to make people aware and not scare
Okay.
people.
Yeah. Okay, Lorraine, thank you for coming on. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for opening the show, so to speak. I'm just going to mute you back there. Yeah. It's interesting. I had a conversation at our Bakewell stand in the park yesterday, and we there was this kind of agreement that they are, now that they've set this global takeover bid, this mass genocide program, whatever you want to call it, now it's underway. They are going to throw everything they have at it to try to sort of ram it home. And my feeling increasingly, the more that I tune in, the more that I'm feeling into the solution, the antidote to this, my feeling is we now have to focus as much energy as we can on creating the alternative future reality, stepping out of the program, stepping out of the system, tuning back into nature, gathering our local communities, trying to reduce our reliance on the big corporates, on the big supply chains, like we saw with petrol, and just recreate humanity in its most pure, essential form of tuning back into nature. I really believe that that is the solution now. And as Davina in Peru puts it so beautifully, to step out of the history and back into the mystery. So I that's really resonating with me right now. So I'm increasingly less sharing those kind of stories, Lorraine, for that reason, not because I don't believe they're true, but I just believe that the plan depends on dissonance, and the more that we can create harmonic resonance, which is why I wanted to play Mog's tunes to open this discussion, because she was asking me, you know, what's my contribution? And it's so interesting because her birthday is on the 23rd of September, so right in that equinox. And I just said, your contribution is resonance, and creating harmonic resonance is a massive contribution. Music is a huge antidote, and that Sass brought that home to me in the forest on the equinox, the beautiful sounding and drumming and in tune with nature and the wind and the trees and the sunshine and the blue skies, and just coming back into that harmonic resonance, because they depend on dissonance. Dissonance is their food. And while there's dissonance, they have power. But if there's no dissonance, there is no power. So it's a really interesting debate that we might want to open up. And I welcome all voices in the debate. Okay, let's come to Owen.
Hi, Rachel. Can you hear me okay?
Hi, Owen. I love the cow behind you. That reminds me of the cow that photobombed my video on Saturday.
Yes, nice. I love your videos at the moment. You know, what you're saying about resonance and harmonics and tuning in was your phrase just now. You know, 100% agree. And your two videos recently, the one about the Houses of Parliament and the incongruent resonance coming out of that place, as opposed to the wonderful universal spiritual oceanic energy from Egypt, from the pyramids, when you went there on that trip. Wow.
Yes.
Really, really fascinating videos you posted up with those two. And I think, you know, with that equinox energy, it's the fastest time. If you think of a pendulum, right, it stops at either end, but in the middle, between the two solstices, it's at its fastest point now. And we're going through these huge changes that seem so chaotic, right?
Yes.
But chaos is synonymous with pre-order. And so, you know, our comfort zones seem to be sort of evaporating in the mist, right? But that's because all this unfolding of this new energetic, this, you know, age of Aquarius, or the paradigm shift, or all these, you know, phrases that are so relevant for our time, they're coming through from interdimensional other realms into the 3D realm. And of course, they're meeting obstacles, to say the very least. You know, if you're keeping up with Australia, Max Egan in the Crow House has posted up some fascinating videos recently about what's going on in Australia. And, you know, this isn't my phrase, it's their phrase. Civil war is kicking off there, you know, and there's only one side with the weapons. And so this is really, you know, becoming so fractious, you know, this situation we're in. Over here, the big news, as far as I'm concerned, you know, we talk about the energetics, and at the equinox time, that really powerful spiritual energetic time, they introduce these jabs, these killer lethal jabs, these bioweapons, all these phrases that you hear from, onto the children. Now, this correlates for me exactly with, you know, what your point was about the Houses of Parliament and the energetics there, and this shadowy energy that they're trying to maintain as their house of cards blows away in the wind, right? With this autumn time, when we shed the skin and the old world falls away. You know, here we go, ladies and gents. It's really, really happening. And those indoctrinating programs from school where, you know, don't be the naughty kid, you know, stay in the box, just keep to yourself, keep it all sensible, and you'll stay out of trouble. Well, all that's coming up to be reassessed, everybody. And I did an interview on the weekend with Kevin Annett, the writer of this book, Establishing the Reign of Natural Liberty, a Common Law Training Manual. And what he's offering us is that alternative. You know, it comes down to law. What is lawful, as opposed to what are terms and conditions of these awful criminal corporations with their, you know, legalities as opposed to law. And Kevin Annett has for many, many years been putting together this common law program. And in this book, you have all the forms. You know, we need to come together now as common law assembly, common law courts. And it's all in here. You know, I don't know if that comes out okay on the camera, but claims of rights, how to put assemblies together, how to come together so we can create that new world, so we can create that paradigm shift. And it's the Chinese symbol for crisis is a combination of danger and opportunity. And we have opportunity, even though it's, you know, the pulses are racing and it's palpably uncomfortable. There's great opportunity, and I'm so confident that we're gonna get there. You know, just listening to Bakewell stand in the park, and you hear about the stand in the high streets, and these enormous groups of people, the critical mass has been passed, and it's coming, guys and gals. It's all on. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Cool. Thank you, Owen. Thank you for that message of hope and optimism there. And this is the thing, is like you talk about weapons. Really important to realize that if it is about dissonance and harmonic resonance, then our power comes, our weapons, and not that I like that word, are the voice of truth. Truth has a resonance. Sound has a harmonic resonance. Music, drumming, all of these things are our weapons, our antidote, because where there is resonance, the dissonance falls away. And you really get that when you do medicine work, ayahuasca, you can really tell the difference between dissonance and resonance. And God is love, and love is a perfect harmonic resonance. So just keep bringing it back to resonance, coming back to that place of peace and love and harmony, because it's so tempting to fall into the dissonance when faced with this archonic energy, as John Lamb Lash calls it, I've previously called it Wetiko, the evil energy.
the goddess is also rising. This rise of the divine feminine is what's the crucial factor for me. You know, the planetary energies, the telluric elemental forces are coming up from Her Majesty Gaia, right? And this is coming through and eradicating, almost excreting these shadowy, ancient, defunct regimes that have controlled us and held us down like a flotation buoy underwater. We've unanchored and we're coming up to the surface for fresh air.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, no, absolutely. This is it. You know, and that is the true power, the power of Gaia, and all the stuff about global warming and da da da. No, it's just the planet. She's cleansing herself using the elements, using fire and water and wind and earth, earthquakes, all of these things. It's just Gaia attempting to cleanse the organism and to kind of wipe this toxin off the face of the earth. And that is essentially what's happening. So the more we're in tune with Gaia, that power is we've seen from all of the weather events, that power is just, you know, could wipe humanity off the face of the planet if she wanted.
And the justice card is always a woman with the sword and the scales, right? The air sign is justice. Yeah,
absolutely. Cool. Thank you, Owen. That's wonderful. And yeah, thank you for also mentioning about common law, that our right as sovereign beings, to our right to live and to breathe and as long as we do no harm. Deborah wants to come on next. So let's get to Deborah. I know, Deborah, I think you wanted to speak last week and you didn't get on, but here we go. Can you unmute? Yes, there we go. Hi.
Yeah, great. Oh, hello everyone.
Hello.
And you, Rachel. Yeah, wanted to speak to you privately as well, but maybe we can do this on the call. So yeah, let's just talk about resonance and storytelling. By the way, that song made me cry. I was crying that you just put on. It's so synchronous. It's unbelievable.
You mean Edelweiss?
The Coming Home one.
Oh, Take Me Home. Yeah.
Take Me Home. I was crying because I'm experiencing. I am coming home right now, and it was just so resonant. It made me cry. So I'm just going to tell you about the harmonic resonance then on that subject. So in terms of what's going on for me, first of all, with my family, I'm noticing a little bit more resonance now. I think things are sort of shifting and changing, and my family are sort of waking up, shall we say? You know, there's a little bit less of the friction there. So that's interesting. In terms of my understanding about how my cells work, because the harmonic resonance actually affects us on the cellular level as well. There's a still point in the middle of our cells, which if it's not right in the center, we're off balance.
Yeah.
And so the things that shift us off balance are the vibration, EMF, and like noise, noise pollution.
Yes.
And now I am aware of all these things, I'm thinking, oh my God, there's no way that I can go back to the office. If I'm going to be empowered and do my work as a light worker, I just cannot sit in that office next to the photocopier with all this noise pollution going on all over me in an open plan office.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to really say I need to work from home. I'm out of here. I'm feeling this strongly. And it's all to do with resonance, because I don't want to be in disease,
Yes.
So that's also going on for me. And in terms of resonance, also, I feel I have really met my tribe. I've had a very resonance meeting with a visionary leader who is looking at, is holding a vision for an eco community as well, like your own vision, I think. Don't know where you're up to with this, Rachel.
Yeah. So many people are wanting that now.
Yeah, and because I liked his content, it's all about biodynamic agriculture, so that's his kind of background, and he's built communities all over the world with food supply. That's his sort of speciality. I've got whisked off my feet with the whole project. and got myself involved in the call group there. And yeah, there's a launch event in Devon. They've still got to buy the land, but I basically, yeah, I am going full focus on creating this new life for myself and the planet through this project. And it's absolutely incredible. People are helping me along the way, donating things like to help me have the courage and strength to do what I'm doing. And I'm doing a lot of outreach. It's amazing how people are helping each other exchange information and whatever resources they have to create this new, to look at these visions and create these communities. And this is, you know, this is a very, very ambitious project that I'm holding as well, the vision.
Yeah.
It's recreating everything off grid, you know, at common law, everything. And yeah, you know, I'm wanted to invite everyone to a launch event. You know, as I say, we haven't bought the land yet, but we, including you, Rachel, you're invited.
Cool.
That's in a couple of weeks in Devon, Totnes. And we're going to have loads of panel discussions about it. And anyone who wants to get involved in whatever level, it'd be really great for people to reach out just to exchange, have a conversation, find out what it's all about.
Yeah.
What other people are up to. It's interesting.
Okay, Deborah. Well, maybe if you've got a link for us, put it in the chat so that everyone can get it. And if you want to talk privately, then I think Fiona mentioned you to me yesterday.
I did.
Yeah. So if you want to chat, then let's speak on the phone.
Oh, that's fantastic, Rachel. Great. Cool. Thanks very much.
Okay. Lots of love. Thank you.
Lots of love.
All right. So who's next? So let's come next to Val Rainbow, who's sitting there knitting like a tricoteuse next to the guillotine. Oh, it's crocheting. Hey, Val. I don't think you've been on before, have you?
I've been on quite a few times, but I've been quite happy to sit and listen to what everybody's had to say. I think the reason why I said I'd like to speak today is really because it feels like the conversation is very much around what I'm feeling too at the moment, which is I feel like there's quite a sort of a shift happening, a real shift happening, particularly in our Stand in the Park, which is that people are, instead of standing around discussing and possibly moaning and getting pulled into all the drama of what's going on, people are now saying it's time to act, it's time to do things, it's time to plan, it's time to start creating an alternative. And that's a really good thing to hear, because I've had some really good friends, not many of them left now, but I've had some really good friends in the last year, and we've spent a lot of time discussing what's been going on and moaning and what have you, which was necessary. But now it feels like, okay, time to get on with stuff now, you know. And I've got quite a lot of ideas of things I'd like to see in the future, but I haven't found the people to do it with yet. I've got all sorts of ideas, particularly in the field of the arts and community centres and working together. And I just feel like I'm still sitting waiting for my opportunity and for the right people to come into my life. But all I really wanted to say is that I'm feeling really heartened and encouraged by what I'm hearing. We are the future. We are the pioneers of the future, and I think it's important to focus on that and not get sucked into the narrative and all the drama. So absolutely, was me, pretty much.
Thank you, Val. That's great. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure.
I'm just going to come across the screens and then I'm going to come to Sapphire and Steel and then Sue Lister. Let's just see who we've got on, because we've got 90 on, so we've almost got a full house, because only 100 seats on this call. So if you've just joined and you want to come on, then please use the yellow hand icon in the reaction button at the bottom of the screen, And if you can't access that, then wave madly at me and I will know to come to you. And we'll get as many people on the call before the end. It's just come across the screen. So we've got a lovely group of you here. Just to say on that point, I have noticed as well, and I was talking to Tony, who runs Stand in the Park, Stoke-on-Trent. There is a kind of fringe who want to just fight now, who are getting very angry and who want to just fight. And there's quite activist. And I'm just really cautioning against that, because that is the trap, to be pulled into the dissonance. Because if we add more dissonance to the dissonance, then what results is chaos. So holding that center, holding that strong no, and co-creating a different direction for our collective future, that feels to me that the route, that it's not to say it's all lovey-lighty. We've still got a really strong no, we do not consent, and a pattern interrupt, and that's great. Pattern interrupting, questioning everything, but co-creating an alternative future reality which is connected into Gaia. I really feel that is so important now. So let's come to Sapphire and Steel. And hi.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, everyone.
What's your name?
My name's Lorna.
Lorna. Hi, Lorna.
Hi. I wanted to come and talk to you today because I am recently out of hospital, having had the alleged virus. And I just wanted to talk to anybody who may be facing going into hospital, and just to say, be prepared for the questioning regarding the jab. I had to really arm myself and to say to staff about the NMC code, and to remind them of that with their questioning regarding why I had declined the jab. It was continuous for the whole 3 weeks, right from A&E right through to critical care, and even to the day that I left the hospital. So stay strong. To anybody that might be facing that, stand your ground, and you don't have to justify yourself to anybody. And Rachel, thank you for keeping me sane for the 3 weeks that I was in there.
Oh, well, sorry to hear that you were ill in hospital, and I'm glad that you're recovering now.
Most definitely. I demanded to leave because I just felt that I was being, it was this negative energy, and it was just horrific. It really was. But yeah. You have kept me sane. You really have. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's good to hear. I'm glad I've been of some kind of service. So thank you for coming on and sharing that. Yeah. On that note, Tony was telling me on Saturday, because a lot of us went down to this kind of festival. It was great fun, just to go back to joy and dancing and music and the good old days. But he was telling me that a friend, one of his local contacts, had to go into hospital, and before a condition of doing the operation was that he had to have the jab. And so reluctantly, this guy agreed, and days later was dead. And it's just tragic that NHS machine is, I just dread the thought of going anywhere near the NHS at the moment. I've just completely lost trust and faith in that entire system personally. So I'm glad that you came out of the other side of it. Okay, let's come to Sue Lister, and then I'm going to come to Indigo. Sue.
Hi, thank you. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to the people who, via this call, came along to our meetup, our public meeting a couple of weeks ago on the 18th of September in Manchester. It was a nice surprise to meet one or two people who hadn't got in touch with me through here, but they turned up anyway, and so I wanted to make sure that I thanked everybody and haven't missed anyone out in my emails and messages. It was a good event. The speakers were amazing. There was a Q&A, and it was very uplifting for people. And we did manage to reach some people who had no prior knowledge of what's going on, and that was one of the reasons for holding the meeting. So I just wanted to say a thank you to everyone for being part of it or passing on my details to other people, and it helped to get some numbers at the meeting. So thank you very, very much. The meeting was called What's Wrong with the COVID? Well, actually, what's wrong with the vaccine passports?
Okay, cool. So is there a recording of those
Yes,
of that content? Can you post a link to it so
is.
anyone who missed it can tune in, maybe?
Yeah, sure. I'll look it up and put it on, yeah.
Okay, so good to see you.
Thanks a lot.
And
You
glad
too.
we could have been of some help in
Thank you. Appreciate it.
getting people along. I mean, it's interesting. This is another big thing about people getting hung up on numbers. So, oh, how many people came to your stand in the park? Oh, were there enough numbers? There's not enough people. But actually, I just really get the power in small groups. I mean, just hopefully I can talk to Sass in a second, but there were just 12 of us assembled in the forest, and just the power of that small mandala. Small groups have tremendous power because they have intensity, which you don't get in a huge crowd. So, you know, this program that it's got to be big to be effective, that's part of the patriarchal system, because small things are very powerful. If we look at nature, just a tiniest seed, like one acorn, there's an entire forest in one acorn. So things don't have to be big in that patriarchal sense to have tremendous power. Just want to drop that in. Okay, now I was going to suggest was it Indigo to come on, but he's disappeared from the screen, unless I can find him somewhere. Don't know if Indigo is still there and wanting to come on. If you do, Indigo, then please put your hand up again, because it brings you to the top. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Because it's difficult to manage these calls with 100 people on, and it's just little me.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for this forum, and we're all sharing together, and that you've been doing it for weeks. It's a big mission. I find that little things that are continuous, like regular meetings and groups, have been really inspiring to me. And with last 2020, that year, there was lots of dissent and falling out, but just a couple of friends have been really, you know, supportive. We became more friends with this, and I found such a heartfelt connection with people who are speaking their truth and wanting a better world. So it's actually quite uplifting, and it's been really, exciting. And we've been putting on ecstatic dances as well. I do that here.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're just a small group, but we just dance every week. And then there's freedom meetings as well, where we can meet outside. And we're lucky we're in the countryside in Wales, but just to dance regularly and to take heart in feeling the same feelings that we want a better world. And that really is possible. And we've been wanting for millennia to, you know, have this age of peace and unity. So This is the actual time for us to just think, well, we're the ones who are creating this reality, and we've all lent a hand in the old one, really, just by not thinking so much of what we want. And now is the time to ask questions of going, well, what do we want? You know, can we actually even visualize it? And then start from there, of just growing food and getting more sufficient, you know, locally as a community, and have that empowerment where we'll just not play into any of the traps that are being set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and so having a spiritual connection to the source, whatever you want to call it, helps so much to know there's something much bigger going on. There's a universe around us. And when we dance on the beach, like doing ecstatic dance, let's say we watched the solstice sun just appear for the last bit, and it was just, we were all watching the sun, and you just felt like there's something so much bigger. And then just the last one for the equinox, we were dancing and the full moon was rising. And it's so cool that we're all just there for this moment of peace at the end of the music. And we just feel like there's something so much more special going on, and it really is a powerful time to stay with that vision of growth and change, you know, for the better, metamorphosis, just like the caterpillar and the butterfly. We can't really imagine how beautiful it will be, but we know it's going to be better, and we just got to keep going for this.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah. Because to put it into kind of plant medicine terms, essentially what we're doing with all this light and this high vibration and this resonance, we're thinning the veil. And as the veil thins, more light comes through, and the darkness, the Wetiko, can't survive in the light. So it's like shining light into the labyrinth. So it's like every dark corner, there's light being shone in it now. And it's like, what we're seeing is quite horrific. And oh my God, I never realized that was going on, but it's like it can't hide anywhere. There's nowhere for it to hide. And as it comes into the light, then it's alchemized and transmuted. And so
Totally.
it's super powerful what is going on. And there's so many small groups who are just bringing in, creating opening portals and just flooding light on into the this dimension. So
definitely, we're all acorns and growing mighty oak trees in the generations that are to come as well. It's just incredible. Even just the lifetimes of my child, you know, it's very exciting for them.
So, absolutely.
Thank you to everyone.
Thank you, Indigo. If you could just mute yourself back, because I can't, you're not on my screen anymore again. Just on that point, before I want to come to the, he's a number 832-6706-1829 in the blue shirt in the library. I'll come to you next, but just before I do, I just want to just mention Davina from Peru, because I said about the digital, resisting the digital world and the world of technology. And she reminded me, she said, Rachel, nature is the highest form of technology. It's an extremely advanced form of technology. And so this digital world that wants to reduce everything to yes, no, on, off, black, white, is a very basic form of technology. And it's way behind the technology of nature and the technology of consciousness creation. So she just reminded me that going for nature isn't the sub choice, it's the ultimate choice to harmonize back with nature, because it is the ultimate technology, and anything digital is just a poor cousin, you know, to reduce things to a digital world. So let's let technology be our servant, not our master. That is the key. Okay, let's come to I think you've been on before, but I forget your name. So, hi.
Hi, on here, Robert.
Robert. Oh, hi. Are you from Hong Kong, Robert?
I'm Hong Kong Robert. Yes,
Hong
I'm
Kong
still
Robert,
in Hong Kong.
The lawyer, the barrister. Yeah.
The barrister. Yes, I want to just give a little bit of update of what's happened in Hong Kong. There's a policy now where schools are not allowed to open unless 70% of children have been vaccinated.
Wow.
And as a result of that, and by that they mean double vaccinated. I had 2 jabs of the Pfizer. This is people under 16. And as a result of that, this started in June, and over 30 children have now suffered serious heart problems as a result of that. So the government slightly changed its policy to say, oh, you only need to have 1 vaccination now. So this seems to indicate this is more and more of an experiment. Just the fact that we'll try 2, okay, 2 don't work, we'll go for 1. And I think, you know, this experimentation is the darker side of evil than even I could possibly imagine, because it's really, there's more pressure on people now to vaccinate and to get people fighting against each other.
Yes.
So where you have a school and the parents want the children to go to school, they're blaming the unvaccinated people for the school only operating half a day. So it gets the parents fighting against each other to force the children to have the vaccination. And I think, you know, that darkness is really, really bad. I think we are in a true battle between dark and light. And my other concern is that, because being deeply involved in the legal system, I don't like it. I don't like this current legal system at all, and it's not going to serve us. So I'm also interested to know how common law, this is a question if anybody wants to email me this, can actually work in practice. Because the realities are, when, you know, the police roll up, they'll read out some legislation, they'll take you down to the police station, you'll be charged, and you're into their system. How do you resist getting into their system? That's the bit I don't understand with common law. That's a question. If somebody could email me on that,
well,
really
I'm sure Owen could probably answer that, because there are ways and means of not consenting, not standing under that system. What maybe come to Owen in a second. But yeah, I mean, Hong Kong, obviously you are very much under that increasingly under that oppression of China now. And that's our fear in the rest of the world, is that we are opening to a Chinese style digitally controlled command control operating system, which will prevent us from being free. So are you experiencing that in Hong Kong?
Compared to England, Hong Kong still feels freer than England. That sounds quite perverse.
Oh, really? Wow. That's not the impression we get from watching
I know, and it's certainly freer than Australia.
Yes.
So, but the scary thing is, if they do want to force vaccinate, they would do that. So my plan now is to stay here a little bit longer over winter, because it's nice and warm here in your winter, and I love sunshine. So I want to stay here a little bit longer. Now I've lasted out till winter and then get across to England early next year, really sort of maybe February, March time. I've delayed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And get into one of your groups and start again there. But I really would like to know how common law would work in practice. And another question is, how are the carers getting on? I think they were under a lot of pressure last time to lose their job if they're not vaccinated.
Yeah.
I've got some material that could possibly help them, and some arguments even within the system that could help them. If there's any way I could contact the carer, I could send them some material and some reasonable arguments to run. Okay.
Well, maybe again, if you put your contact details, email in the chat log, because everyone who's registered for these calls gets the chat log off and the recording. So if you can put that in, Robert, thank you. And thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
Okay. So let's come back to Owen for a quick heads up on what to do if you are arrested.
Well, just to answer the point about enforcement, the guy who wrote this book, Establishing the Reign of Natural Liberty, a Common Law Training Manual, it is the book of our times, everybody. I really recommend everybody get a copy and, understand the essence of this question. How can common law enforce it? And it's really important to get that we are all responsible for the law. We've been indoctrinated through education to offload the law. Don't take the law into your own hands, they say. But actually, common law says completely the 180 inverted opposite, and that we are all completely responsible for justice in our society. And just a small paragraph from this book, and the title is A Note on Common Law Enforcement. It is understood that every able-bodied citizen is obligated and empowered by natural law, capital N, capital L, to assist the court sheriff and his deputies in enforcing the sentence of the court, including by ensuring the imprisonment of the guilty, the monitoring of his associates or her associates, and the public seizure of the assets and property of the guilty and his agents, if such is the sentence of the court. This collective law enforcement is required in the interest of public safety, especially when the guilty party is an entire institution or head officers of that body. And so here we are. The law that or the legal system, terms and conditions of a corporation, right, is crumbling away in front of our eyes. So the question is what's coming through to replace it? Well, it's got to be the people, right? We, the people, we look at justice. I've been a teacher for 20 years, and I've seen it in kids, infant kids, what is fair? They get it intrinsically, instinctively as a kid. We all know what is fair, and what is happening, to say the very least, is very unfair. So we have to come together, take responsibility. There's a very interesting ancient Greek guy called Solon, and his point was people should be punished or prosecuted if they don't get involved with the law. And just on my website, commonlawnews.com, I did an extended interview with the guy who wrote this book, Kevin Annett, and he goes into great detail about how a seed of doubt arrives, and then the seed becomes this catalyst for change via this process of common law. We don't want mobs. We don't want violence in the streets and awful chaos to reign. We want a new system. And this is the system of we the people, not this ring-fenced club of the privileged that we have.
Oh, and could you hold the cover of that book up nice and still so people can see it? People are asking. Yeah, a bit back so we can see the whole with the... Okay, so Establishing the Reign of Natural Liberty, a Common Law Training Manual issued by the International Common Law Court of Justice. Yeah, so if you can put a link in the chat as well to that, Owen, that would be great if people want to get hold of that.
The book of our times.
Cool. Thanks for coming on and explaining that. Thank you. Let's come to Tanya next, Green Life Organic. And if anyone wants to come on, please put the yellow hand up in the reaction box. Tanya, hi. Oops. If you could unmute. Yeah.
There we go. Hi, Rachel.
Hi,
Thank
Tanya.
you. I just wanted to jump on. I was on a couple of weeks ago, and I was just I was hoping this might have come up a bit more today, but yeah, it's the whole kids vax rolling out thing.
Are you in Australia, by the way, Tanya?
No, I'm not. Sorry, that's an old email address. I don't know what that's showing on there for. So I'm back in the UK. I used to live in Australia. I'm glad I'm back here. Yeah, my son's 15. He wants the vaccine. I've sent so much information, including the FDA stuff that was the 8-hour review they had, papers that have come out saying, you know, for every life saved, at least 2 people are dying from the vaccine. Like, it's just, I don't know, I'm despairing. I feel like crying. It's so frustrating. Yeah, and now my 12-year-old daughter wants it as well because of peer pressure. I don't think she will, thank goodness. And I know there's a big court case tomorrow with Mark Sexton and Dolores Carhill and Annette, the lawyer, Annette Bossier. Yeah, has anybody got any news, any hope, any inspiration? I'm just so concerned about it, and I keep trying not to go into the fear, and then it just drags me back in, and it's awful.
Yeah, it is. It's a horrible situation. I mean, I just noticed even in Bakewell here, they've hung signs along all the lampposts saying vaccinations save lives, with a picture of a mother and a baby. I mean, it's just horrific, the level of propaganda, intimidation, lying. I mean, it's just beyond. And so my sense is there's a desperation setting in. So I'm just praying that someone somewhere will say enough and to stop this, because yeah, it's very difficult when our children are involved. I'm just so fortunate that mine have seen the light, because I've just sent them so much information. And I do agree that peer pressure is really important, because their brothers all share the same opinions. So when older brothers have very strong anti-jab opinions, the younger ones tend to follow suit. So yeah, you're right, peer pressure is super powerful. But we just have to pray. Just have to pray at this point that I mean, I know a lot of people are taking action, doing protests at schools, that kind of thing. Yeah, I really don't know what to say. Maybe if anyone's got any help for you.
If anyone's in a similar situation, happy to chat, share ideas.
Okay, let's come next to Debbie Williams, who's waving, and then we'll come to Namuringe Cure. Sure that's not your real name.
Hi, I didn't intend to come on, but one of the things that I've been working on for quite some time is looking at how do we wake the sleeping lions up, because we're almost like in 20% that are very, very awake, and then there's 20% that are never going to be awake, or it's going to take a long time. But the 60% in between, I think those are the ones that we can get to the tipping point. So they could be like parents who've perhaps had the vaccine and then have started questioning, but you told us it doesn't affect children. Now you're pushing us to get the children sort of vaccinated. So I came up with this template of influence using Robert Cialdini's, some of his sort of influence things, the authority, the social proof. And if anybody would like a copy of it, what we need to get it going is people who watch videos, like most of us do, but writing out a particular quote from somebody. So if a doctor says over 800 teenage boys have suffered heart problems, then that's one heck of a shocking quote. the top of the video is, oh, this is Dr. Robert Malone, or this is Dr. Mike Eden, former VP. So there's just your authority. Then you've got the doctor saying something. Then you've got the social proof of this is one of 58,000 doctors who signed the Great Barrington Declaration, because most people don't know about that. Then maybe it's safer to wait. Then the scarcity principle of Cialdini, which is also censorship. So, you know, why have you not heard of this? Well, it's been censored. Please share this. And the template is something like an advert, because we'll watch long videos, but most people won't. And if you send somebody, a friend or a relative, oh my goodness, have you seen this? It's only 30 seconds long. Or if they're an awkward person, oh my God, have you seen this? It's only 30 seconds long. I know you won't watch it. They will, just to spite you. Then you can't unsee it once you start to hear.
Yes.
You know, the doctor said this. And if we, there's so many of us, we could do hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of these. I mean, I've sent it, it's been sent on, I think, to the Heart group. Val Rainbow on Here We're Friends, she's seen it and she's sort of started to share it out to people. But I'd love to share this to loads of people. I did try to add it here, but it won't let me add. I'm not very technical. But if I put my email and anybody wants a copy of this, it's very short at the front to explain what it is. And then I backed it with all the references to Cialdini and the studies, the Milgram experiment and all of those. So if anybody wants a copy and can get a group together of people who can do simple video editing, and people who can, when you're naturally watching videos that you think, oh, doc, 1 minute, 30 seconds in, Dr. So-and-so said this. And I thought to begin with, if we target stuff that we can target the parents, that they didn't know this has happened, they didn't know that's happened. Again, it's giving them the evidence that when they go to school or something, did you know that Dr. Peter McCullough has said X or what have you? So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, really. Oh, and one more thing. I'm also working with David Charalambous, who's been on here with a few other people. We've been going through the document that's going into schools. It's the Queen Mary and the Stephen Hawkins thing. It is a vile piece of manipulative work that is going to be targeting the kids. And David has been asked to look at it for backup for the lawyers. The Heart group, the doctors have looked through it. So I think there's a lot of people doing stuff in the background, and it feels like collectively we're starting to knit together now, which I think we need to. So I'm done.
Okay, thanks for coming on, Debbie. I mean, I've just come to the sad realization that I think that there are going to have to be mass deaths to wake the majority up, and I think it only takes a tipping point. That's when we get to that tipping point, and then everyone will wake up to what's going on. But unfortunately, I feel there's going to be casualties, and I think it's unavoidable. Okay, let's come to Namyo Ringe Cure, and then we're going to come to Sass Bullock, and I think that will probably take us up to 1 o'clock. So, okay, let's just. Hello, hi.
Hi. So my name's Lorna.
Hi, Lorna.
It's to Tanya. So there was something you said earlier, Rachel, about when you have this kind of fighting resistance, it can go so far that you become part of the matrix, you become part of the story. And I've been fighting from the beginning with every waking moment to stop my kids having this jab, and collecting lots of evidence, printing out evidence for my son's diabetic consultant about why, you know, pathogenic priming, why all the science, so that it's not just links that he can ignore. I kind of take a big folder with me every time we go to a diabetes clinic. Always really highly strung. You know, my kids, and all it's done is really just push my kids further away. And it's done the opposite effect. So in hindsight, what I would say to Tanya is somehow you've got to try to have less resistance and more fun. I don't know how. All I can say is, looking back, I wish I'd used my Buddhist practice a lot more. I stopped chanting. because I was in so much fear. And I think what I did, I attracted what I didn't want. And so one of my sons has had the first jab, and they're both extremely angry with me all the time. And we're not in a very happy household. So I just think, in hindsight, I wish I'd taken the foot off the pedal, because for all my hard work, I failed. His boss told him to get the jab to work in a bar, and then 2 days later Boris said you don't need to have a health passport to work in a bar. You know, I had been telling them all year, this is what's going to happen, you'll get the jab, you'll go into lockdown, it'll be pointless. But no matter what I did and how much I warned and how much evidence I got together, I just think somehow energetically it failed.
Yeah.
So I feel like I almost attracted it by focusing on it too much.
Yeah.
So my advice would be somehow support your children, but have fun and joy, and just try not to be in the matrix so much.
Oh, Lorna, sorry to hear that. It's so tough being a mum, isn't it? You want to do the best thing for your kids, and then they are rebellious. I mean, I said to my son, my little, he's not so little anymore, 13-year-old, that I was going to organize a protest outside the school with our Stand in the Parkers. And not because obviously he said he's not going to have it, but for all the other kids, because it's not just about my children, it's about all the children. And he said, Mum, if you do that, that is going to be so embarrassing. I am going to have the jab. I'm telling you, I'm going to have it if you do that. So it's just like, so I really had to sort of back off. And for that reason, I know there have been a lot of protests, and the way that they're doing them is you don't do your own school.
Yeah.
You do someone else's school, and then other parents do your school. So there's no personal connection to the school you protest at, so that we're pattern interrupting this without creating personal conflict. I mean, it's a whole minefield being a parent right now. So lots of love to you, Lorna, and please don't blame yourself. And just praying that this will all transcend at some point very soon. Okay, let's come to Sass for the last wise words. The Queen of the Forest, Sass Bullock.
If I can unmute myself. I managed it this time. Hey folks, I'm just in reference to Debbie and Lorna and everybody else on here. It just sometimes seems so hopeless that this big monster train is running away with us. But I'm just going to bring your attention to the fact that we're all sovereign beings, and all the souls had a choice before they came here. Are you going to be one of the awakened ones, or are you going to be one of the asleep ones? Because otherwise we're not going to have the balance. Because going through the autumn equinox, it's all about bringing the balance between the light and the dark, the balance of the 12 hours of light and 12 hours of dark. And so if you can imagine those people on the dark side, they're asleep, but they've chosen that. They've chosen to be one of the ones to have the vaccines in order for us to wake each other up, or to come to a point. Some of them we will lose a lot of people, but they will be taken on the other side, and they will be brought back into the wholeness, into the holistic realms of the source energy, because we're moving into the next level of our consciousness and our awareness. And so there are things that we can't see, things that we can't understand. But what I do feel is that people chose as a soul before they came here. And many of the younger children are much older souls than their parents, and that they've made that choice. And so rather than getting totally desperate, and I mean, I completely relate, because I would be the same if it was my children. But I think the more you push to not have it, the more they use it as a tool to beat you with, because obviously children love going against their parents. In a way, that's what they're primed to do, is to create a shift in the consciousness by going where the parents can't go. And we're like the bow to the child, the arrow, and we can't go there. So we don't know what they've agreed on a soul level, and or anybody else. I think that's why some people are so resistant, because they've already made their choice between they came here, and nothing's going to shift them. So all you can do is put the kind of information out of there and realize that we are all part of the same consciousness, and it's just some have chosen to go on a sleep side and some have chosen to go on the awake side, and that this will be worked out, and we are moving to a new dimension, a new paradigm of thinking. But this is the transition. This is the bit before you push down the birth canal, before you move out into the new world. There's this really, really awkward, painful, scary bit where we're in transition. If anyone's had a baby, you know that the transition is the bit where you want to go backwards and go, no, I've changed my mind, I don't want to go through with this, I don't want to have any more children. No, that's it. I mean, I begged my sister on the second child, when suddenly all the contractions happened and I suddenly realized and remember what it was like. I begged her on the phone. I said, don't just go and get me some big knickers from Marks and Spencer's, please come and have the baby for me, I can't take it, I can't bear it. And of course, you do move through that, otherwise none of us would be here. And that's what I feel we're all moving through right now.
Yes.
The transition, which is the most difficult bit before we get squeezed through the birth canal. So just hang on in there, folks. I've left I've left my link to Telegram. So if anybody wants to feel as if they're doing something, having some tools, I can put more sounds on there. I've got a resonant sounds that you can use to help bring you back into balance, to help focus you, because vibration, a sound can just shift your vibration if you're feeling a bit low. So wake up in the morning and decide what day you want to have, whether or not people are taking the jab, going against us. And that will bring us into a higher vibration just naturally, just by releasing, letting go of the control. And surrendering to the flow, as I say, that will heal us.
Thank you, Sass. Thank you for those wise words to end our call today. So much wisdom in this group, so much co-creative collaboration. Just coming back to the screen, just to say goodbye to you all, give us a wave goodbye. Just come across and see who we've got on. And yeah, thank you all so much for showing up and for sharing your wisdom. And please do join us again in 2 weeks' time. I think that I can't even think what date that is, but it's every fortnight at 12 noon UK time on Mondays. Sending you all so much love. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.